Cortisol levels, there's a lot of talk about them. Everyone talks about it to try to sell you a product or perhaps lead you in a certain direction. The question is there real concern or is it just a lot of hype? You're watching The Daily Dose with me. I'm Dr. Mitch. Be sure to like and subscribe. We love when you do that. You can always stay notified when we release new content if you ring that bell. And you're going to watch until the end of the episode because I'll always, as I do, give you a great health tip. Again, been doing this 44 years. I've been a clinician, a physician, PhD, master's degree, you name it, written 4 books, etc. But let's get into this. Cortisol is part of our daily hormone release. Hormones rhythmically release. They do it off and on sporadically during the day, and cortisol has about a 4-time release during the day. Yes, we need cortisol, which comes from the cortex of the adrenal glands, which allow us to deal with and able to handle stress. It actually is even anti-inflammatory in the right quantities. Now, acute elevation because you're scared or for some reason you're worried or you have a flight or fight type of situation where you have to run makes sense, cortisol is released. The problem is that the humans keep cortisol levels on all the time. Our mind, our traffic, our worries, and stress tend to lead to be it on all the time. Now, every animal in the entire animal kingdom has that fight or flight and cortisol release. But for us, if it's chronic and it's released constantly, that's an issue of what this is about. Cortisol, when there's too much of it, chronically being released as if you're in a chronic state of fight or flight, can suppress your immune system. And the body will be much more susceptible to infections and illnesses. Yes, you will gain weight. Cortisol can increase your appetite and can give you weight gain as well. Even high blood pressure is often related to stress. People know that. They didn't have blood pressure before. Why do they have it now? And if you look at many of the people that are on medication, it's because they have so much cortisol release. The other thing is it can impair your cognitive function. Even they have found one fight with a boss or with a partner or with someone can actually inhibit the body's ability to regenerate brain cell function. And that was, we thought, never capable of doing, but it is. But bathing cortisol of the brain all the time, prolonged levels, will affect your memory, your concentration, and especially your decision-making abilities as well. Yes, there are sleep disturbances. If your cortisol is high, it will disrupt the typical sleep-wake cycle. Moods can be affected as well, where you have anxiety, depression, and irritability, and you can even have digestive issues when your cortisol levels are elevated. You can end up with things like irritable bowel syndrome. Muscle weakness is also associated with cortisol. It can break down muscle tissue and inhibit the repair and growth of your muscles, and even some skin problems, specifically like acne, eczema, and other inflammatory conditions can occur when your cortisol level's too high. And just so you know, cortisol is a hormone. So if you release too much of one hormone, it can cause imbalance in other hormones. And for those people with libido that's just not as good, it isn't always testosterone, cortisol also leads to low libido. Here are 10 signs that someone may have high levels of cortisol. If you have chronic fatigue, if your weight gain, especially around your abdomen, this could lead to it as well. If you're irritable and anxious all the time, insomnia, poor sleep, high blood pressure, muscle weakness and pain, digestive issues such as bloating and digestion, the libido I just spoke about, if it's low, susceptibility, getting a lot of infections, and skin problems such as the acne or rashes that are unexplained. Now, yes, I'm aware that many other things can cause this. You should be too, and not blame cortisol for every single thing that happens to you. But let's give you some things that you need to do. Here's my hint of the day. And take notes on this because this is where it makes a difference. You can look these up. You can hear others talk about it, but let me give you some really good advice on that. First, get out into nature. There's something about being amongst animals and nature and trees that make our adrenal glands and our stress levels go down. Learn to meditate. And if you can't do that, try or learn or take a course or get a free app and learn to be in the present as opposed to constantly living in the future, which is what true anxiety is, and having anxiety will release more cortisol. You could consider taking some of the things that will help, like boswellia, ashwagandha, vitamin C, and of course drinking less caffeine. They can help out with the adrenal support. You can have plenty of healthy sexual relations. Yes, it does relax you. It does help cortisol. It does help you cortisol reduce. It does help you sleep better. No one talks about it, but it makes sense. Sex is a relaxer. Sex is the focus. Sex helps you by releasing other hormones in the brain. These hormones actually will help to decrease the cortisol hormone as well. Stop and smell the roses, folks. Really do that. Not just say it, but really do it. And there's one other thing that's extremely important. Take the time, if you really believe you have this, just don't go buy products on the internet. Don't say the doctor says, oh, this, and oh, I have this. And anybody who does a podcast say, oh, I'll buy that, or just stop it. Don't do that. Find a good integrative or physiologic type of practitioner and get your cortisol level checked by saliva 4 times. What I mean is these kits come with 4 little tiny saliva sample things, which should take you 20 minutes. You can't spit. You need to drool that so you don't get any blood in it, because even microscopic blood will raise the cortisol levels. The cortisol goes through the blood either bound, and that means it's not useful, or it's free. And the free cortisol levels are measured if you properly collect the saliva sample. And if you collect it at the times typically when cortisol is released, which would be between 7 and 9 in the morning, somewhere between 11 and noon in the afternoon, somewhere between 4 and 5 p.m. And again, from 11 to midnight, that will give you a very good, clear aspect as to what your cortisol levels are doing. Because sometimes if the cortisol levels are really high, eventually they will become low, because the body, it can only beat a horse so much as you can, and then things will get hurt, like the horse, in this case, your cortisol levels. This is the Daily Dose. I'm Dr. Mitch, and for more information, you can always contact us at the website Huelight USA, HUELIGHT USA.com. And thank you so much for watching.